Greetings! It is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome! It is time to continue our discussion on Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, the second edition of AD&D. We last left off talking about making magic items with creating scrolls. Let's talk about creating potions to begin with. So, potions are most of the time the purview of the wizard. They're the ones that are most likely going to be making potions. Though a priest could make a potion, they can make cure and healing potions, which happen to be outside the purview of the wizard. Now, just as like what we were talking about with the scroll or with any magic item, it's going to be up to the player to identify all the materials and ingredients that are going to be needed to create this potion appropriately. The DM is going to determine how difficult or how easy it is going to be. But brewing a potion also has a cost associated with it. Each potion you brew is going to have a cost between 200 and 1,000 gold pieces. So you can see there are two big decisions your dungeon master is going to have to make for you right at the beginning of you creating said potion. Now, if you're a wizard, you do have another step revolving around this. You need some kind of alchemical location which you can develop this potion at. It's going to cost you about 2,000 gold pieces for all the massive alchemical lab that you're going to need that's appropriate to this potion making. A skilled craftsman, given enough time and given this money, can easily make it for you. So it's not something that's difficult to actually acquire. You can find a craftsman, you can hire them, they're going to be able to make it for you. You're going to need some kind of place to do this in. And there's going to be all kinds of strange smells and sounds at all hours of the night, so finding a place to rent, not so easy. But once you can actually find that location, you can then begin the work of processing and making that potion. Though for every month that you are maintaining this alchemical lab, it requires 10% of the original cost of it, basically about 200 gold pieces or more if you spent more on it, that in order to maintain it, because equipment gets worn out over the use during that time. A priest, on the other hand, might not necessarily have the same process. They don't need an alchemical lab. What they'll need to do is to basically consecrate a special altar. Consecrating the special altar may require some kind of money, or may require some kind of special service or task to the given deity in order to sanctify it. Once it is sanctified, all the priest needs to do is effectively give some prayers to it in order to maintain it over that course of time. Now you're ready to brew. You have all your materials, which you kind of went through just like one of those spell formulas you're doing for the scroll. You got everything together, you've gotten it ready, you're ready to brew. It's going to take an amount of time and a number of days equal to the original cost, which your DM determined, divided by 100. So if it's 200, 2 days, 1,000, 10 days. And this has to be uninterrupted work. Now, you can, of course, still sleep and eat the normal amounts during this time. But if anything majorly interrupts you during this time, the process is ended, everything is lost, you have to start over from scratch. Now, once you complete, your DM secretly rolls a percentile die to see how successful you were. The base percentage starts at 70, though you add 1% for each, the 100 gold that the original cost was for the potion, and for every 2 levels you have, you also add 1% onto this roll. Then you roll the DM will roll the percentile dice. If they get equal to or lower than that percentage, congratulations, you've successfully made a potion. If it's higher than that, you've either created a deadly poison or a potion of delusion. You won't know until someone drinks it. Then you're going to find out what it really is and how successful you actually were at making said potion. Or if you failed horribly and you're just, a little bit of a screw-up in that end. Now let's talk about making other magic items. Because you can make things beyond scrolls and potions. You can make weapons, armor, staffs, rods, rings, cloaks, bracers. The list goes on and on and on of all the kinds of things your characters can make. This doesn't mean there aren't things you can't make. You cannot make artifacts. You cannot make relics. And you cannot make intelligent items. If you should encounter one of these, it is controlled by the DM, and the DM chose for you to encounter that. Effectively, the DM has written the story that you're going to find one of these if you're supposed to find it. Either that or, nope, you're not going to get it. Now, this doesn't mean there aren't other restrictions. There are certain other items, things that specifically are mentioned by certain races, which are only going to be created by NPCs of said race. Cloaks of elven kind, boots of elven kind, a special dwarven axe that's magical. These things are made by dwarves or elves respectively, and only by them normally, and normally by NPCs. There will be restrictions on the magic items that you will have, but it's going to be based upon what the DM tells you once you ask. The process is going to be a little similar to when you're making up your own spell and creating your own spell. It's going to have a similar creative process to begin with. Effectively, you're going to come up with an idea for a magic item that you want, that you think is appropriate, because you do have this unlimited potential of whatever you're making. You're going to come up with it, come up with a description, come up with all the details. You're going to present it to your Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master is going to read through it. Your Dungeon Master might make some edits to it. The Dungeon Master is going to bring back those edits to you. You're going to discuss those edits, maybe make more changes, etc., etc. This is going to be a give and take process, where the two of you are going to sit down using your original idea and discuss it until you come up with some kind of middle ground compromise where both of you feel that this is appropriate for something for you to make. Now, your Dungeon Master is still going to come up with an ingredient list, and your Dungeon Master is also going to come up with any other kind of requirements to actually make it. Once you've designed the magic item, this also doesn't mean you can make it right away. DM has requirements on all the processes you need to do. DM might tell you that maybe you're not high enough level. Maybe it's too powerful for whatever level you are now. Maybe you have to reach a certain ability in order to cast it, a certain spell that you might feel like you should actually know before it's appropriate to be able to use this. The process itself is going to be, step by step. Coming up with it, then figuring out what all the steps are to make it. And if you're in a position that it feels like it's appropriate for you to actually make this magic item, and that you'd be powerful enough to make whatever power level of magic item it is. Because your Dungeon Master's not going to want you to make something too powerful for the game. They're going to want to balance it out and make it appropriate to whatever level you are when you're making it. But that's it for today. I talked all about making potions first. The steps you'd have to make as a wizard, which is the normal one you're going to do, and as a priest. And the kind of time and process and percentage of chance that you're going to have to actually get lucky enough to properly finish up that potion and not make it something terrible. I moved into talking about making any other magic item. The weapons, armor, staffs, rods, rings, whatever. Whatever it is, making all of it. I talked about the basic process of it, that you suggest something to your NPC, you suggest something to your DM, whether it's an actual established magic item or one that you're coming up with on your own. You're bringing it to your DM, and you're having a give and take relationship until the two of you agree on what you could theoretically be making here, especially if you're making up something on your own. If you're coming up with, like, I want to make this +1 sword or something like that, that's very simple, that's basic. DM might not do anything to alter it. They might just say, fine, you're good enough level for that. You can do it. They'll come up with the process, everything you need to know, and then, if you are appropriate to make what you've designed, you go and make it. But we'll talk more about that next time, because we're going to dive deeper into these other magic items and let you know some more information when it comes to creating them, when it comes to building them, and getting them ready for your adventures. But regardless, if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows you support the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you could always check out my Patreon. Link in the description below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.